Wikipedia is written by internet users, right? Contributors, right? Well, let me just say, whoever contributed to Epik High's Wikipedia page, you're wrong on a lot of things.
Hey Tablo.
There was this one line before about me that was totally wrong. And I was like, I even shouted it out. And I was like, this needs to be fixed because it's wrong. And I tried to fix it and they were like, you need sources. I am the source. It's me. And I couldn't fix it. No matter how many times I tried, it went back to whatever it was and it was wrong. So today I'm on Wikipedia. I'm looking at Epik High's page and I'm gonna point out all the things that are wrong and all the things that could be better. And I need whoever's contributing to help me like get this fixed. Epik High, E-P-I-K, High. Okay, you spelled it right. Okay, so far so good. Epik High, Korean Epik High is a South Korean hip hop trio formed in 2001. Wrong. We were formed in 2002. I met Mithra in 2001 during the winter. I was on winter break from college and I was in Korea and I ran into him. And at the time, I wasn't 100% sure I was gonna go into music because I still had like a year left and I had to go graduate and my plans weren't completely set. It was something that I was entertaining, but I was not totally sure yet. But I met Mithra during the winter. And I met Tukutz later on after graduation in 2002, like around March, April, because I graduated early. So I came back and the three of us met and we ended up becoming Epik High. We didn't even have a name at the time. So when we first met in 2001, winter, me and Mithra, Mithra probably has a very different version of this story. I met him in the lobby of this hotel called Novotel in Gangnam. Okay, they told me to come there, and it was Mithra and this producer beat maker. And Mithra was working on a solo album because he was a solo artist at the time. He was already like an underground rapper, and they somehow heard about me, and then they wanted to meet, and I went and we met. And when I got there, Mithra looked like scary. Like he didn't look like someone that could do music with me, right? And I also listened to some of his songs on the way there, and he was doing like some I don't know, like horrorcore. That's what it was called. It's like they mixed horror and hardcore together. So just imagine what it sounds like, right? And he was rapping like, and his lyrics are like the blood of a poet, or like, yeah, I will execute them. Like, search it. His song was literally called Execute Them, okay? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I get there and he literally looked like an executioner, and I was not that type. I was sort of more like a poetic kind of rapper, and I'm like, I can't rap with this guy. And then we're sitting there, and immediately, like we just met, and they're like, do you drink? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we went drinking, and then immediately they took me to a PC방 to play StarCraft. And I don't really like playing games, but I just felt like I had to go, and I went there, and we played for like 2 hours, and it was just torture for me because not only was I terrible at StarCraft, they were really good, especially Mithra, right? And I just met this guy, and you would think that like he would go easy on me, but this guy was just fucking destroying me in the first like 2-3 minutes of the game. Okay, and in that game, if you get killed in the first like 5 minutes, you just have to sit there as they play for like the next 30 minutes, and you're just waiting. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, right? And we play again, I get destroyed again, and I'm like, what the, like I'm like technically I'm a guest here, right? I'm like, what is this? And I had to sit through that whole thing, and then I went back to school, and I was like on the plane, and like on the way back, I was just like, okay, I'm never going back. Like, I'm not going back to them. I'm not sure I want to do this. And then I went back and, we kept, in touch through this thing called Messenger. And the producer was like, "Yo, can you like rap on this and record it and send it?" And I would send it. Like I would be in class, and then I would come to my dorm room, and then I would record something, send it, go back to class, and stuff like this. And that's when one day the producer sent this file, and I turned it on, and I thought it was gonna be Mithra rapping, but it was like for like fucking 40 minutes. Okay, I swear. And I'm like, I just spent like, and back in those days, like to download 40 minutes took forever. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like skipping through it. And just constant. Skip like another 10 minutes. It's like, I'm like, Hyung, what is this? It's like, wouldn't it be cool if the team had a DJ? And I was like, And he's like, I know this kid. He's a DJ, and I think he fit well with you guys. And I'm like, I'm not even sure I want to like be in a team with Mithra. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to do this for real, right? And then we kept in touch. Eventually, I ended up doing it. Came back to Korea, met Tukutz at this pho place. It was a pho place. Wait, why are you laughing? Did Mithra tell this exact same story?
I just read the first line.
Grace is like, you read the first line of the Wikipedia entry, and you've been talking for like 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I have a problem. Anyways, I met him at this spa place, and let me just tell you, if you think Tukutz is 싸가지 없어 now, okay, 싸가지 없어 means just like, just unpleasant human being. If you think he's like that now, oh my God, he was so bad back then. He was so fucking arrogant and just like flippant. And Mithra really did not like him. Like Mithra was like, the fuck is this guy? Like, I hate him. He's disgusting. He's ugly. He's stupid. He's everything I hate about humanity. And I was like, oh, come on, man. It's not that bad. He's not, he's not perfect, but he's not that bad. And Mithra said, what are you talking about? I hate him. I'm kidding. Anyways, we ended up being a team. Okay. So I was reading up. I didn't even finish the first sentence. Epik High is a South Korean hip-hop trio formed in 2001. That should be changed to 2002. Okay. Composed of rapper and songwriter Tablo. Okay. Rapper and lyricist Mithra Jin, and DJ and record producer DJ Tukutz. What the fuck? Why am I a songwriter and he's a record producer? Okay, let's set this right. Okay, Fly, produced by me. Fan, produced by me. One, produced by me. 1 minute, 1 second, produced by me. Umbrella, produced by me. Just throw out any really famous Epik High song. What famous Epik High song is there? Love, 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 produced by Tablo. Meaning I made the beat, I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the melodies, I did it all myself. Tukutz was not even in the room. Tukutz made one famous beat, Born Hater. Okay? It was a smash, I know. But the majority, I was the record producer. Fucking fix this. Composed of rapper, songwriter, and record producer Tablo, and then rapper and lyricist Mithra Jin, and then it should say, and once upon a time DJ, and sometimes occasional record producer, record co-producer DJ Tukutz. Parentheses, he made one famous beat. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? I am seriously annoyed by, you know that Epik High video? Okay, I try not to read the comments, but the Epik High video when the three of us were like interviewed about each other, the recent one where we're kind of talking shit about each other. Okay, somebody was like, Epik High's like lyricist leader, Tablo. Epik High's beat maker, Tukutz. And Epik High's chef, Mithra Jin. Okay, that part's right. Oh, we should include that. Rapper and lyricist and sometimes chef Mithra Jin. But I was so offended by that because seriously, like 80% of Epik High's beats were made by me. Are you kidding me here? And you know that I brought this upon myself because I wanted to like take care of my 동생. I wanted to take care of Tukutz. So since our debut to the first like 10 years, I kept saying in interviews that because people kept saying that, what does Tukutz do? Tukutz does nothing. He's just like, he's at a table behind us. And I was like, no, Tukutz does a lot. Tukutz makes a lot of our beats, and Tukutz is a great beat maker. And I kept saying it, right? So it got ingrained into people's heads that he's the beat maker of Epik High. But you would think that if I'm complimenting him nonstop in every single interview, you would think that he would reciprocate it, right? Not a single fucking time did he add no. But you know the big beats like our hit songs, like Tablo produces those beats. I mean, I'm grateful for his compliment, but I'm not in no way the record producer, right? You know, Tablo produces a lot of our beats, right? You would think that he would say it once in 2 decades. Not a single fucking time. Every time I shouted him out or complimented him, he just sits there. Yeah, I did that. Okay, based in Seoul, the trio first met in 2001. Like I said, the duo first met in 2001. The trio met in 2002 before signing with Woollim Entertainment and releasing their first 2 studio albums, Map of the Human Soul and High Society, to minor success. What the I mean, okay, whoever contributed this, I mean, that person's not wrong, but do you really need to add this disclaimer? Look at this. Before they've released their first 2 studio albums, Map of the Human Soul, 2003, and High Society, 2004, to minor success. Thanks for pointing that out, Wikipedia. The trio rose to fame with the release of their follow-up studio albums, Swan Songs, Remapping the Human Soul, and Pieces Part 1, spawning the hit singles Fly, Paris, Fan, Love, 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 One, and Umbrella. In none of these songs did Tukutz play a part. Mithra rapped on all of these songs. Tukutz did not. Although the majority, I think that there should be a parentheses. Spotting the hit singles Fly, Paris, Fan, Love, 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 One, and Umbrella, parentheses, of which Tukutz played no part. Close parentheses. Right? Like, we're trying to be accurate here. Although the majority of these albums were censored by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism due to strong language and themes of crimes, war, religion, and education, Epik High established themselves as one of the leading hip-hop artists in the country, gaining a cult following and critical acclaim. Okay. Yes, we were censored often. Our albums were censored often, but it wasn't just... I'm not sure if it was the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. Like, are they in charge of all the... like what songs are allowed to be on TV and stuff like this? On average, we had maybe 70% of the songs on each album, they were censored. But for really, this makes us sound awesome. Like, makes us sound like very edgy. But some of the songs were censored for like, okay, Mithra had this one line where he was like, 200km 폭주, right? Like, it was a metaphor, like he was saying that our youth is like running at 200 kilometers per hour, right? That got censored for going over the speed limit. I kid you not. Because when you get censored, like they send you a reason. They send you a reason for the censored thing, right? And also there's this song called Lesson 2 where I say, 뭐 이 법이 출석부라면 나는 결석하리, right? They censored that for me. Basically, I'm encouraging students to not go to school. So at the time, the people who were in charge of whether or not to like censor a song, usually they were older people, right? And at the time, they didn't understand like rap punchlines and like metaphors. So they took it literally. They're like, you went over the speed limit. What went over the speed limit? Our words? Following the completion of Mithra and DJ Tukutz mandatory military service and the end of their exclusive contract with Ulim Entertainment, Epik High signed with YG Entertainment in 2012. Yes, I was there first, but they came. The trio's next studio albums, 99, Shoebox, and We've Done Something Wonderful, explored heartbreaks, personal struggles, and self-help. Supported by the successful singles It's Cold, Up, Born Hater, Spoiler, Happy Ending, Love Story, and Home is Far Away. Okay, let's do a tally here. It's Cold, Tukutz had nothing to do with it. Up, Tukutz had nothing to do with it. Born Hater, Tukutz had a lot to do with it. But I did find it in his trash folder. I did put it there. But I put it out of there too. So, spoiler, Tukutz had nothing to do with it. Happy Ending, Tukutz had nothing to do with it. That was me. Love Story, Tukutz and I made it together. Okay. Love Story is when Tukutz and I started making beats together. So like Anti-Hero, all those beats, like we did it together. Home is Far Away was me. Epik High garnered international recognition, becoming the first South Korean act to play at Coachella. Okay. First of all, to Epik High fans, I'm in no way putting down Tukutz's contributions, okay? But when there isn't any for a particular song, he shouldn't be, saying that he made it. But what happened, this was a recent interview too. During an interview, he literally said, no thanks, the beat, no thank you, that he made it, right? And I was like, even I was confused for a second. I was like, he just kept talking about it as, he was like, I made the beat, and like, he was talking about it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I made that beat. Like, I'm pretty sure I made that beat, and then I gave it to him to edit, and he worked on it. Like, he added a lot to it too. So we did it together, but I'm like, this is really weird, right? So I searched that up because I got confused. He gaslit me, right? And during the interview, I'm like, do I say this? Because if I say that, isn't this too petty? And I was like, and he says it again. He's like, so when I made the beat, and I'm like, with me. And he's like, oh yeah, you made that. And I was like, what the fuck? He's doing it on purpose. Epik High left YG Entertainment in 2018, after which they started their own in-house label, Ours Co., and signed with William Morris Endeavor to manage their overseas promotions. WME, there are agents, but they don't manage our overseas promotions. We do it all ourselves, like our overseas stuff too. There are agencies, so they will book us certain things, and also our tour, they'll book venues and stuff, but to promote our album and to do music stuff, it's just us. So we're indie over there too. They released their second extended play, Sleepless, in 2019, followed by a two-part 10th studio album, Epik High Is Here, in 2021 and 2022. They released their third EP, Strawberry, in 2023. Nothing about Pump. We released a mixtape too. So our history ends in 2023. Okay, we need to add the albums that came after that and the songs that came after that. Like, we dropped Screen Time, we dropped Pump. Okay, and then it goes into detail. Dude, that took me forever just to get through the beginning part. 2001 to 2005, career, beginnings, and breakthrough. Epik High was formed in 2001 upon frontman Tablo's return to South Korea after graduating from Stanford, having previously met Mithra during a trip to Seoul while still in college. Okay, this is all right. Okay, let's see if there's anything wrong. Initially, they intended to debut as a duo, but decided to add a DJ for their live performances in the same vein as Dilated Peoples. They recruited DJ Tukutz, a turntablist disc jockey known to the Hongdae club scene, who occasionally played with CB Mass. Okay, there's multiple things wrong with this. Okay, first of all, we did not recruit DJ Tukutz, as I mentioned earlier. He sort of recruited himself into our group. And he was not known to the Hongdae club scene because he was not known to anyone. I'm not even sure his family knew he was a DJ. I'm not putting him down. I swear to God. Okay? He was not known at all. None of us were known. Okay? None of us. He was DJing like occasionally for this group called CB Mass, which became Dynamic Duo. And let me just tell you, the reason why Mithra and I always mentioned that we were a duo and Tukutz sort of came in at the very end, right before we signed our first contract, right? Oh my God, he's so smart. Anyways, the reason why we keep mentioning it is because this mofo, he didn't ever say to us like, hey, can I be a part of the group? Like, we're all friends. Like, the three of us are really good. So like, can I be part of the group? I think I can contribute. He never said anything like that. The only thing he said, we didn't even ask him to like officially be in the group yet. And he's like, CBMS DJ 계속 할까? 아니면 Epik High 할까? Let me translate. He was like, should I just keep DJing for CBMS? Because it was lucrative at the time. He was like, Tukutz was the only one making money. Okay, Mithra and I were like complete unknowns and also like just struggling, okay? But he was making money doing the CBMS gig. And he was like, should I stay with CBMS as their DJ or should I just do Epik High? And Mithra and I were like, did you ask? And Mithra was like, did you ask? I'm like, what the fuck, right? That's how he worded it. As if we were like on The Bachelor and like we're on Hip Hop Bachelor and Tukutz is the Bachelor and all these hip hop groups were like suitors. Like Dynamic Duo and Epik High were suitors. Come to us. If you come to us, we'll provide this opportunity and we'll treat you well and like we'll take you to dinner, long walks on the beach, and like he like has a rose and he like gave it to us. That's how we acted. I swear. That's why Mithra drives this point home. Every single time it comes up, he's like, no, originally we were supposed to be a duo, right? It's because he acted like that. And now he's trying to like totally, clean up this history. And he's like, I came in like, just like in the nick of time, just like, clutch. I came in clutch and they needed a DJ and I showed up fucking superhero landing. No! He literally said it in front of us. Oh, should I just keep DJing for CBMS or do Epik High? And I'm like, what? The only reason why I was okay with having Tukutz on the team was because Mithra isn't very talkative. Like, he is now. But back then, he wasn't very talkative. And he just wouldn't go out. Like, he was just sitting at home playing StarCraft, like reading comic books. He's just like, I'm like, yo, do you want to go out? No. No, I'm going to play video games. And I was like, bored. And Tukutz, every single like day, Tukutz was like, let's go do something, right? And also Tukutz was like, he was funny. And I was like, okay. I was like, maybe one day, it'll be to our benefit that we have two talkative members who are funny. And one guy who just, likes video games and eating and sleeping and shitting. And you know what? I was right. Thank God we have Tukutz on the team, right? Tukutz, like, imagine Epik High without Tukutz. So it was the right decision. Of course, it took 2 decades for that decision to pay off, right? But I guess ends justify the means. Okay. The trio's first performance together was to a small audience at the amusement park Everland in 2002. This is right. We performed at a zoo. I've told this story before, but it was really depressing because it was it wasn't K-pop, but we didn't have the word K-pop, but it was like a big show with I think Rain was there, Lee Hyori was there, Hyori Nuna was there, and like it was like that's what we thought we were going to. And we got there and we weren't allowed at the venue. Like we were not booked for that venue, basically. They had a sideshow, literally was performing like in between a weasel and a fucking seal, okay? Basically. In front of like 7 people, okay? It was so sad because we saw the posters like Rain, Yori, and all this, right? And like we were walking towards that venue, and somebody stopped us, and they're like, "Oh, what's your name?" And we're like, "Epik High," and they're like, "Epik High?" We're like, "Oh, that's us." And they were like, "Oh, you're not here. You're that way, right?" And we're like, "Oh, there must be another like stage." And we get there, and it was, if you've been to Everland, the zoo, they have like this sunken, like just this fucking hole. Where kids who pass by can sit down and look at a seal, like do tricks, and a weasel. Okay, like a ferret. It was a ferret, and not a weasel. It was a ferret. And we weren't even headlining. Okay, our competition was a ferret and a seal, and we weren't headliners. Okay, we weren't the ending stage. But let me just say, even in front of those 7 people, I performed my ass off. Seriously, like Mithra and I, Tukutz was just at the DJ booth, but Mithra and I performed our asses off, and it went from 7 people to like towards the end, like maybe 20 people. So we did well, and we didn't. They refused to pay us as well, so I had to go and fight. I went, and that's when it all began. Tukutz always complains that like, Tablo, please stay out of it, like just let things go. But that's when it started. Like they refused to pay us. But we were poor. Like to get there, the gas money, we carpooled there, okay, with another group called TBNY. We carpooled over there, and they were supposed to pay this set amount. It was such a small amount, but it would basically cover our gas, and they refused to pay. And Mithra and Tukutz were like ready to give up, and I'm like, we can't give up. Like we have to get some of this. So I went and fought with them, and then got a little bit of money just to cover the gas. Right? But that's when it all began. And I knew like, oh, this is what it's like. Even when we debut, we're going to have to fight every single step of the way. Like we're going to have to fight for what's ours to even get a piece of what's ours, right? So that's when it all began. And I fought with every single company. Seriously, I fought with Ulim so many times. Even when we were signing with Ulim, we were nobodies and they were signing us at the time. And the first offer that they made us was terrible. They lowballed us, right? Even at that time, even a standard contract was terrible, but they lowballed us even more. And immediately I was like, okay, everybody get up, we're leaving. And I left. And the CEO of William, he called us after we left and was like, okay, I'll meet your demands. So first, everyone, the standard contract was 5 years, but I was like, as soon as he said 5 years, I was like, okay, yeah, kaja. And I left. And Mithra and Tukutz like, what are you fucking doing? Like, every single label has rejected us for like a year. Like, this was our last hope. What are you doing? And I'm like, I guarantee you he's going to call. And if he doesn't call, he didn't really want to work with us, right? And then he called. So we signed for 3 years. Thank God we did, because our 3rd year, we dropped Fly.
Wow.
Thank God.
What did you sing on your first performance?
Next to the ferret?
Yeah.
The story with Epik High is that we had our first album finished and done. We just couldn't sign to any distributors or labels. Like, none of them wanted us. Someone kind of scammed us, and we had this studio bill that we had to pay. So we needed to be signed as soon as possible to pay off that bill. But we still had these songs though, right? So we had Go, Free Love, and a couple songs that we would just perform. And, we would perform at clubs and stuff, and people didn't know these songs. Like, they weren't released. You couldn't listen to them anywhere. But we just kept performing them. And as a result, by the time we debuted, because we had been performing in front of, like 10 people, like animals, we were so ready. I think that's one of the reasons why Epik High is like good at performing, because we didn't get to debut in front of thousands of people. Like, we didn't get to debut on TV. We didn't have fans. Like, every single fan that we got, we had to like seriously grab them off the street, basically. We had to like promote ourselves with flyers that we made on our own. And like if 30 people came to a show, like we had to do everything possible to keep at least half those people and like turn them into fans. And I think that's why we got really good. We were also performing a lot in shitty conditions, like with terrible mics and terrible like monitors where we couldn't even hear what the fuck was going on. And I think that made us like really hardened. Like you send us on stage, like our in-ears will go out, and sometimes you'll see me on stage like take out my in-ears and just like throw it over there. The reason is because like if I can't hear anything properly in my in-ears, I'll just take them out, and even if I can't hear the music, I'll still be able to rap on beat, which is insane. And I do it by looking at the audience singing along. I keep the beat I find somebody that's singing along a little bit, and then I keep the beat according to that. And the reason why we can do that, and we don't use, sometimes like for songs that have no beats, we don't even use a click. So when I perform like Eyes, Nose, Lips, I performed it overseas once, and they all came to me and they're like, "How are you doing this without a click?" And I was like, I can hear the piano, and they're like, "No, but some parts are just like EP chords. Like, how are you doing it?" It's because we're so used to it. Like, our first few years, we performed in places where we could not hear a thing properly, right? So we got like really used to performing under those, like under distress, basically. So sometimes things not working out, work out is what I want to say, right? Like all the dots come together later. Okay, 2006, 2009, continued success. Swan Songs was intended to be Epik High's final album, but the album was a chart success with the title track Fly reaching #1 on domestic charts. Fly also featured on the soundtracks for FIFA 2007 and Pump It Up. Another of the album tracks, Paris, featuring Loveholics Jisun, was also a hit in Japan and Korea. The album was repackaged the following year, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, look at this. Epik High performing at Everland in 2007. Oh, so we actually went back to Everland in 2007. Wow. Full circle. 2007, we were huge. So I probably said yes to Everland because of our past. Like I was like, we need this full circle moment. Now I'm going to be performing in front of humans. Finally at Everland. That first experience at the zoo traumatized us so much that in our contract, when we re-signed after the third album, in our contract, it said that the company cannot make us go perform at an amusement park. Because it didn't just end with the zoo. Like after our first album came out and our second album came out, we still weren't doing well. So we kept getting booked for performing at Lotte World Adventure. And I got there, and we were in the waiting room. And you know, in Lotte World Adventure, there's like this stage, like sometimes like pirates like come out and do shows. And we were supposed to perform there. And I went to the waiting area, and there was a ferret. I swear to God, there was another ferret, and I was like, "Fuck!" There's a ferret. 2 albums in, and we're still lined up next to a ferret, right? Like nothing has changed. Like we've been working so hard, 2 albums, and like we're still not even headlining a show with a ferret in it. And that's why our third album, Swan Songs, was gonna be our last, because we're like, we tried. We dropped 2 albums, and they were good albums, but the audience just doesn't care. Like there is no audience. Like we're not going to be able to do this. And the company was not willing to, support us anymore, really. We really thought it was going to be the end. And it was bad. It was bad. Because I was like, I got to do something with my life. This rap thing is not working out. And also our company, after our second album, I think after, so that was the first time I went on a TV variety show. Because that was the reason why. After our second album, when we got our first paycheck, mind you, this is after 2 albums, okay? We got our first paycheck, and I got 50만 원. for 2 years of work. That was like it was like $450, but for 2 years. And so I went to my company and I was like, I begged them. Like I seriously begged my CEO. I was like, "Hyung, please put me on a variety show." And he's like, "But you're not funny." He literally said it because I wasn't funny at the time. Believe it or not. You know what he said to me? He said, after he said, "But you're not funny and you don't talk that much." He literally said it. Like that's sort of who I was. I just made music, right? And I didn't talk that much. Like I didn't talk as much as I do now. I was still fun with my friends and stuff, but that's what he thought. And I was like, just give me one chance and I will deliver like for this team. But this is the only way for me to like get Epik High out there, like for people to know what Epik High is, right? And he was like, "Okay, I'll try, but like if you F up, like you're never gonna get another shot, right?" So he went, and I'm very grateful to him about this, but he went and like worked really hard to like put me on a show because all the TV stations are like, they're like, "Who is this guy? Like, why would we put him on our show, right?" But they put me on one of the most like talked about shows at the time called 야심만만. It was like a huge show with Kang Ho-dong Hyung. He was the MC. I don't know. I think someone maybe like dropped out at the last minute or something. So they put me in there, and I was with all these other like famous celebrities, and I was the only like unknown, like just kid from wherever, right? So I go on there, and I actually did really well, and then I was the most searched name, and then Epik High, people started like caring, and then after that, I went on like 1,000 other shows, and then we dropped Swan Songs, and it became what it is, right? And people started listening to music again. And immediately after Swan Songs did well, and we were preparing for our 4th album, which had Fan and Love, Love, Love on it, I stopped going on variety shows again because now I was able to like focus on music, right? And thank God, because like Epik High seriously would have not been able to do music. Like we just were not able to afford studio time. Like it was really bad. So thank you, variety shows. Seriously. But that's when it started. That's when it began. Like me like having to like make jokes and be funny. Like when I was little and I was in Canada, I had to be funny to not be beat up for being Asian, right? Like I had to be funny. And then much later on, I had to be funny to like survive as a musician, and thank God it worked out. And now look at us. What have we unleashed into the world? This guy just won't fucking stop talking. Okay, so let's look at some recent news to see if they need to change anything. Dude, I didn't even get through like 20% of this. Okay, let's look at the conclusion here. Impact and legacy. I would like to preface this by saying I think it's way too early to be talking about our legacy. And also, I'm not sure how our legacy will turn out because I think our legacy is very confused. What are we exactly? Are people going to be talking about the music or the content? Which Epik High, which Tablo, Mithra, and Tukutz will they be talking about? I don't know. Epik High were part of a new wave of hip-hop artists who had started underground before gaining more visibility. Epik High are among the earliest domestic hip-hop acts to achieve mainstream success and recognition, becoming the first act to have a song win first place on music programs. Since then, their songs have won #1 multiple times, etc., etc. Thank you.
How do you want to be remembered as?
How do I want to be remembered? You know my answer. I'll be happy if I'm remembered at all. Seriously. You saw that clip, right? That was for real. I was like on the news and they asked that question. I was like, 기억이라도 됐으면 좋겠다고. Like, I don't really care to be remembered. You know, it's not really a big deal. First of all, I'm dead, right? Right? I don't know what's going on. Like, right? But the only thing it matters, the only reason why it matters is because it will matter to how the world treats my family, right? Treats my wife, my daughter, the members I leave behind, the friends I leave behind. It will matter to them. And also, if I'm remembered well and still loved, if our songs are still loved, that money will go to help my family once I can't, right? So obviously, I would like to be remembered well for the sake of the people I love and also my fans, right? Like our fans who still remember us at that time, it would be better that we're remembered well. That's why we're so comfortable with doing things that might, in certain eyes, quote unquote, hurt our legacy. There are certain voices that were very against us doing YouTube, doing Epik High, because they're like, according to that person, you guys are legendary artists, but if you become like these comedic figures on YouTube, like, won't that hurt your legacy? And I was like, well, you seem to not think very highly of YouTubers, first of all, because they're doing well, they're doing very well, and they have impact, and they have just as much a voice as musicians. It's just a different art form, right? But we're very comfortable doing it because we don't really care what our legacy is. We don't even know, right? We're still in the process of writing it. And also, like when I was gonna start Hey Tablo, they were like, don't go there, brother. Epik High is enough. People may forget that you're a musician, and people may forget the musician that you are, because you usually make, introspective, sad songs. And if you're, on a podcast every week, like yapping away, fucking doing stretches and screaming and like, reviewing Yashik and shit, the fuck they gonna remember you as, right? And I'm like, who cares? I'm all of these things. I'd rather be remembered for who I am than who I'd like to be. Once dubbed the rebels or bad boys of the industry, Epik High became known for their refusal to adhere to certain industry norms and for their outspoken personas that contrasted their clean-cut appearances, particularly in a socially reserved society. I guess this sums it up well. If we refuse to adhere to certain industry norms, and that's what made Epik High, and that's what made our songs and our albums what they are, then isn't it totally normal that we are refusing to adhere to the industry norms that we ended up creating, right? Like to constantly refuse to obey whatever we're supposed to do. That's why I'm like, I think some of my fans are very annoyed by me. Seriously, I think some of them don't like me. I'll be honest. Because like,
Some of your fans don't like you.
yeah, some of our fans, some of Epik High's fans don't. I think some of them don't like me, and I think it's because when they ask for things, the more they ask for it, the more I refuse to do it. And I think there are some Epik High fans that aren't Tablo fans as a result, because if they're like, stop doing YouTube, like you're a musician, I'll go out of my way to cut the like bottom of some pants, put it on my head, and act like a fucking clown. The more they tell me not to do it, the more I'll do it, right? And if they're like, no, it's okay, you released enough music, just keep doing the YouTube thing, we love it. Then I'll start making music. So you know what to do. Hit that like button. Share. Tell everyone how great our YouTube channels are. Maybe that is the only way to get new music. I mean, they did say I am a rebel and someone who refuses to adhere to certain industry norms. Anyways, so I wasn't able to get through much of the article because I was talking so much. First of all, I would like this picture changed. That's the last thing I'll say. This photo makes me look like the weakest human alive. It makes... I don't know why they use this as the main photo. It's just some random photo of us at a fan sign event. What is this? It's not even like an official fan sign picture. It's like I'm in the... Like Tukutz and I look so weak. Like I look like I have no agency at all. Look at me. I look like I'm apologizing. Mithra looks like a PR rep who is apologizing on the behalf of Tukutz and I. Right? Tukutz and me. Right? It looks like Tukutz and I like fucking did something wrong. And Mithra's our CEO and he's like apologizing to the press at a press conference. What is this picture? Please change it. You are allowed to use the picture we have at epichigh.com. Use that. Okay, use that. Or use a Epik picture. I don't care. Just don't use this picture. I am so annoyed by this that when you search us on Google, this is the first picture that comes out. It's Tukutz and I apologizing. What is this? And also this picture, the other picture that they use. Look at me. I look like shit. All of us look terrible in this picture. Every picture in this Wikipedia post is terrible. What is this? Look at this. 10th anniversary and worldwide recognition, but they use a picture of us looking like we're performing at some like freaking like some Texas barbecue spot. Oh, we are at a Texas barbecue spot. It's South by Southwest. All these pictures are terrible. There are so many good pictures. Use those, okay? We spent money taking good pictures. What the fuck are you doing using these terrible pictures? Go to epichigh.com. Look! We have great pictures at epichigh.com. Look at these pictures, okay? Use any of these pictures. Oh, you have to start a membership? Okay, hold on. Use any of this. You just search us. Use anything. I don't care. Just don't use these pictures, please. Anyways, before I wrap up, let me just say one last thing. 없어 할 말이. I was gonna say something amazing or something like heartwarming about my members, and I really, for some reason, I just can't think of anything right now. See you next week.
Hey Tablo.